to quote TJ just before we started filming this, the only thing I know about Rastafarians is that they're black and they smoke weed, and Bob Marley was one. Well, if that's you, stick around because we're going to learn a little bit more about Rastafari tonight. Deep Fat Fried.
Deep Fat Fried.
I'm kind of looking forward to this because I didn't really realize just how little I knew. But you know, like it's like a movement or something. It's like a political movement, a religion. What I mean, I don't even know fucking
It
that.
is both. It's a political and religious movement, and it's relatively new as well. So it's kind of unique in all those things, especially given the reach that it has and how far it's spread in practice to be such a new thing. But yeah, it kind of blurs the line between a political and religious movement. So this guy here up on the screen is Haile Selassie. Became known as a prophet and a messiah of the Rastafari religious movement, and today is seen as divine by the Rastafari. So they believe he's the messiah.
Yeah, he looks pretty cool. I mean, I like his big fucking forehead. I like his hairline there. I wish there was a little bit more connecting the beard with the head hair there. There's like a little sparse. There's a little sparse patch there. I think that kind of hurts the look a little bit, but
not bad.
I mean,
right?
He's a fucking. He's not exactly a good-looking guy, but he looks intelligent, and he looks like he could be compassionate under certain circumstances or harsh under others. How did he
become divine in their eyes?
Well, we'll talk about it. One of the unique things about Rastafari is, and it is a cult.
Gotcha. Sure. Okay.
Widely, there are people that will try and argue that it isn't, but it pretty much fits every.
Would you say that
a
cult in your mind is just like any sort of like religion that's small? Or
I mean,
I feel like
I think big religions are cults as well. Like they all started as cults. They all have the same kind of cult mentality. And so I think it should just be broadly applied to pretty much all religious
just
movements.
Synonymous, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and most political movements as well.
Gotcha. I agree with you.
So yeah, but one of the unique things about this cult is that Haile Selassie didn't really have a role in creating the movement at all. He was just a politician. He was actually Ethiopia's 225th and final emperor.
Oh, okay.
Serving from 1930 until his overthrow by the Marxist dictator Mengistu Haile Mariam in 1974. So he served for a long time, or reigned, or whatever you would call it, for a long time. The longtime ruler traced his line back to Menelik I, who is credited with being the child king of Solomon and the queen of Sheba. He was born in a mud hut in Ejersa Gora on July 23rd, 1892. Among his father's important allies was his cousin, Emperor Menelik II, who did not have a male heir to succeed him. So when Menelik II died in 1913, his grandson, Lij Yasu, succeeded him to the throne, but the latter's unreliability and his close association with Islam made him very unpopular with the majority Christian population of Ethiopia.
Yeah, those two have never gotten along too well.
No.
Hey, guys, let's just get along. No, I don't think so.
Why can't we be friends? Yeah.
Tafari became the rallying point of the Christian resistance, and he deposed Lij Yasu in 1916 and imprisoned him for life. Zauditu, Menelik II's daughter, therefore became empress in 1907, and this guy's name, before he took on the name of Haile Selassie, the emperor, was actually Rastafari.
Okay. It's all coming together. Rastafari.
Mm-hmm. So Rastafari was named regent and heir apparent to the throne at that point. He was progressive for his time, became a focus of aspirations of the modernist younger generation. In 1924, he visited Jerusalem, Rome, Paris, and London, becoming the first Ethiopian ruler to ever go abroad. In In 1928, he assumed the title of Negus, which is king.
Whoa.
Grand Negus, dude.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
I thought that was just
and-
a made up Star Trek designation.
Well, it may not be spelled the same way. It's Negus in the. So I don't know if that's how they spell Grand Negus. But
Not
yeah,
sure.
probably linked though. And 2 years later, when Zaditu died, he was crowned emperor. That's on November 2nd, 1930. And he took the name Haile Selassie, which means might of the Trinity. When Italy invaded Ethiopia in 1935, Haile Selassie led the resistance. But in May 1936, he was forced into exile. He spent his exile years in Bath, England, in Fairfield House, where he bought most of his, in the Fairfield House, which he bought. Most of his serious hours were occupied with the 90,000-word story of his life that he was laboriously writing in Amharic. Haile Selassie spoke out against the desecration of houses of worship and historical artifacts, including the theft of a 1,600-year-old imperial obelisk, and condemned the atrocities suffered by the Ethiopian civilian population. He continued to plead for the League of Nations to intervene and continued to voice a certainty that God's judgment will eventually visit the weak and the mighty alike. Though his attempts to gain support for the struggle against Italy were largely unsuccessful until Italy entered World War II on the German side in June 1940. Although he was reinstated as emperor, Haile Selassie had to recreate the authority he had previously exercised. He again implemented social, economic, and educational reforms in an attempt to modernize Ethiopian government and society on a slow and gradual basis. Over the next 2 decades, he attempted to reform the country's governmental structure by introducing taxation on church properties abolishing
I've always
slavery.
wanted to do that.
Yeah.
All right.
He abolished slavery in Ethiopia. He attempted to reduce conflict between Ethiopia's various ethnic groups. His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I granted a piece of his private land to all Africans living in the diaspora and created the Ethiopian World Federation to assist in the effort of this return. In 1948, Haile Selassie donated 500 hectares of land at Shashamane, 160 miles south of Addis Ababa, to the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated for the use of people of African descent who supported Ethiopia during the war, particularly those during from the West. Now that's a lot. He was basically trying to get people who had been taken out of Africa to come back to Ethiopia. And that kind of is the long way to answer the question you asked, Scotty. How did he come to be revered as somebody other than just a politician? Well, it was because he wove this kind of Pan-Africanism into the stuff that, his politics.
Which I'm sure resonated with people in colonial Africa. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, like people who'd probably been colonies and faced that kind of oppression. It's like, well, a powerful, continent or group.
Yep. His rule in Ethiopia continued until 1974, at which time famine, worsening unemployment, and a political stagnation of his government prompted segments of the army to mutiny. In 1974, a military junta called the Derg staged a coup against Selassie, who by then was in his 80s. So he was a Joe Biden by then. He was placed under house arrest in Addis Ababa, while the surviving members of his family were imprisoned in another province. Dozens of his former government officials were executed by firing squad. And in 1975, Selassie died. The official story was that he succumbed to respiratory failure. But in the 1990s, an Ethiopian court announced that he had been strangled in his bed most cruelly by the perpetrators of the coup, the Derg.
Oh, man.
Those
jerks.
Which was backed by... Who do you want to... Do you want to guess? Who backed the Derg?
The Canadians.
Soviets. Dun, dun, dun.
Damn it.
Dun, dun. Soviet jerks.
The Derg itself was overthrown in 1991, and a year later, Selassie's bones were found under a slab in the Imperial Palace. He was given a full state funeral in 2000, some 25 years after his death. So,
took a little while.
Kind of feel bad about how we did that guy dirty.
If you want to know who really started the Rastafari movement, it's Marcus Garvey. So he was regarded as the messiah of all black people by the Rastafarian movement. So during the 30s, Jamaican activist Marcus Garvey followed the coronation and rise of Haile Selassie with interest. Garvey had famously said, "Look to Africa when a black king shall be crowned, for the day of deliverance is near." Many of Garvey's followers in Jamaica believed that Selassie, originally called Rastafari, was the black king of this prophecy. If Rastafari was the king, then it stood to reason that deliverance was coming soon, and over the next few decades, a movement in Jamaica grew, honoring Selassie as the divine messenger of God. African-descended Jamaicans had spent centuries as slaves, taken from their homelands in Africa. They saw Selassie, the man who stood up to the white Italian army and took back his homeland, as a messianic figure who would lead black people into a golden age of eternal peace, prosperity, and righteousness. They believed he was a descendant of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. He was referred to as the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah.
Mm-hmm.
The Rastafarians believed that Jah, that's the Rasta name for God, had simply inhabited the body of Haile Selassie, and that when he died, it was a sign that Jah was not just a human being, but also a spirit. Today's Rastafarians believe that they will be repatriated to Ethiopia, still, to live in freedom, led by Haile Selassie, who you might remember is dead.
Wow.
So
fucking idiots sitting around waiting for some dead guy to come back and save them all.
I know.
What a stupid religion.
Yeah, we've never seen people do that.
Whoever fucking heard of such a thing.
People have never gathered at like plazas.
One day he's coming back. Jesus is coming back. Selassie's coming back.
I think even more modern takes. People have not gathered in plazas waiting for dead people to come back, right?
Yeah.
We haven't had that in Daily Plaza recently in the U.S. Like, that's never happened.
No.
Thank God.
Everyone always thinks some dead dude's going to come save them. It's pretty fucking weird. Like, what is this weird dead dude coming back to save us fetish that humanity has?
I tell you, TJ, but we're surrounded by death cults. So,
that would explain it.
Yeah, I know it might seem kind of freaky when you think about it that way, but we really are. They're just a bunch of death cults around us, and we're like, every time we point out they're a death cult, they're like, "No, we love life."
Hey, TJ, you're still recording, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I am.
My shit somehow got turned off. So
sorry about that. Yeah, I got it going on.
All right, good. Haile Selassie actually visited Jamaica well after a cult had been established worshiping him as a messiah. He went on the 21st of April, 1966, and approximately 100,000 Rastafari from all over Jamaica descended on the Palisados Airport in Kingston.
Don't look at me.
Jesus
Christ. Sorry, I can't help with that.
Spliffs and chalices were openly smoked, causing a, quote, haze of ganja smoke to drift through the air. Haile Selassie arrived at the airport, but was unable to come down the airplane's mobile steps. As the crowd rushed the tarmac, he then returned into the plane, disappearing for several more minutes. Finally, Jamaican authorities were obliged to request Ross Mortimer Plano, a well-known Rasta leader, to climb the steps, enter the plane, and negotiate the emperor's descent. So they were so crazed that they were afraid they were going to try and he was just like, oh my God,
this crowd is too fucking wild, right?
Yeah. So Plano reemerged and announced to the crowd, "The emperor has instructed me to tell you to be calm, step back, and let the emperor land." So that day, April the 21st, is widely held by scholars to be a major turning point in the movement. Still commemorated by Rastafari as Groundation Day. That's what they call it.
Groundation Day.
Or Groundation Day.
Okay.
The anniversary, which is celebrated as the second holiest holiday after the 2nd of November, which is the Emperor's Coronation Day. Stoners have appropriated it one day earlier for 420. That's
we got to move it, man. We got to move it.
That's largely considered to be the original etymology of like the 420 meme. Is 421 is get fucking stoned and worship Haile Selassie Day. Selassie reportedly told him that they should not immigrate to Ethiopia until they had first liberated the people of Jamaica. This dictum came to be known as liberation before repatriation in the movement. Haile Selassie defied expectations of the Jamaican authorities and never rebuked the Rastafari for their belief in him as God. Instead, he presented the movement's faithful elders with gold medallions, the only recipients of such an honor on this visit. So he basically he took what was probably just maybe like a back to Africa social movement and made it into a religion that day, basically. Like turned it into a hardcore commune style religion, as we'll see.
Yeah, because he could have just been like, I'm not a, I'm not a god or anything, people. I'm just a dude. But nope. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm God. Here's your medal.
If you're ever approached by a large crowd, they're like, teacher, we worship you.
You are God. Of course.
Yeah, you're going to go like,
no, God. No, God, seriously, no, I'm not.
I'm not.
So in a 1967 recorded interview with the CBC, Haile Selassie denied his alleged divinity. In the interview, Bill McNeil says, there are millions of Christians throughout the world, Your Imperial Majesty, who regard you as the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. Haile Selassie replied in his native language, I have heard of that idea. I also met certain Rastafarians. I told them clearly that I'm a man, that I'm mortal, which is a lie. He didn't address it at all. And that I will be replaced by the oncoming generation. They should never make a mistake in assuming or pretending that a human being is emanated from a deity. So Rita Marley, who is Bob Marley's wife, converted to Rastafari faith after seeing Haile Selassie on his Jamaican trip. She claimed in interviews and in her book, No Woman, No Cry, that she saw a stigmata print on the palm of Haile Selassie's hand as he waved to the crowd, which obviously resembled the markings Jesus Christ's hands would have had from being nailed to the cross.
Right.
A claim that was not ever supported by any other source, but was used as evidence for her and other Rastafari. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, spectral evidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was used as evidence by her and other Rastafari to suggest that Haile Selassie was indeed the Messiah. She was also influential in the conversion of Bob Marley himself, who then became internationally recognized. As a result, Rastafari became much better known throughout the world. Bob Marley's posthumously released song Iron Lion Zion refers directly to Haile Selassie. So it's really like Marcus Garvey.
That enters basically like one of the few things I actually knew about it, which is that Bob Marley believed in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was by his wife, and I didn't know any of that other shit. I have never even heard most of these people's names before, but I do know that.
So it was really like Marcus Garvey, Jamaican social activist, that created the religion, and then Bob Marley that popularized it outside of the Caribbean.
Yeah, because most people going around fucking saying they're a Rastafari in America are fucking clearly just
most of them, but not
Bob
all.
Marley,
there are people.
probably.
There
Not
are people
all.
that live.
No, probably not.
Live according to the commune's practices and yada yada. So let's talk a little bit about their beliefs and some of the things that they do.
Okay.
Ultimately, what drew Rastafari to Haile Selassie was the idea of African unity and repatriation of Africa from the colonized lands of the West and Caribbean, where black people were forcibly migrated to via slavery into diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
Now that idea has been enhanced by the desire for repatriations to achieve this goal. One Rastafari compared it to Jewish people being repatriated to Israel. The so-called Back to Africa movement has roots going all the way back to the 1800s, when more slaves were being freed by the Northern American states and more black people were being born free. This was tried with the establishment of Liberia and with Haile Selassie offering land in Ethiopia, but that's about it. Pretty sure most people know how Liberia turned out, so it makes sense that the movement would develop its center around Rastafari. Of course, Rastafari is much more than a political cult. They have much more than just that one belief.
I'm sure. Usually these things are not just like, here's the one thing we believe, but other than that, do what you want.
I know they believe in smoking a lot of weed.
Yeah.
I know that.
It is a I see it referred to as a Pan-Africanist movement. It is a black movement, very distinctly black movement. But that's, it has a lot of supporting things that go along with it here. They're rooted in Christianity, but they have far stricter tenets relating to their diet. It's common for Rastafaris to eat a strict vegetarian diet.
Okay.
This clean diet is officially called Ital, which roughly translates to natural.
I used to be on that diet. The eat all diet. Yeah.
Eat all. Yeah.
I was in that for a long time.
I'm still in it. Most Rastafaris want to consume foods and drinks that are of the earth. So they try to get as many fruits and veggies in their daily diet as possible.
That makes sense.
Even if a Rastafari decides to eat meat, she or he is strictly forbidden from eating pork, as it's forbidden in the Bible's Old Testament.
So they're the rules basically are eat plants. If you do eat meat, like other meat is like negotiable. But if you eat fucking pork, that shit is fucking 100% off the fucking table. Don't even fucking think about eating pork.
And they're real iffy about eating any meat at all.
Yeah, they just don't want to do it in general. But like, if you are gonna do it, make sure it ain't fucking pork.
Eat some fish or something.
Eat some fish. Rastafaris can eat fish, but most won't eat any fish that's longer than a foot long.
Okay.
So small fish only. Rastafaris believe alcoholic beverages, coffee, and milk have a corrupting influence on one's spirit.
True.
And advise refraining from drinking them. However, the majority of Rastafarians have no problem with drinking organic tea. Okay. You can't have any coffee or any alcohol or milk.
I'll go with that.
A few traditional Rastafarian beliefs about race are that members of the black race are the descendants of the biblical Israelites. So Rastafarians actually have a direct connection to
the black Israelites movement. Yeah, that's crazy.
Black Israelites. Yeah.
Fuck.
And also that blacks are the superior race on the planet. Many also believe that Jesus was actually a black man, which probably is true.
Yeah, I mean, he was.
Given where
he definitely was not white.
No,
he was. I don't know if he was like African black, but he was definitely not white.
He was a Northwestern European white man, TJ.
Oh, right. Of course. I forgot. Fair skin, blonde hair, blue eyed. Fucking Jesus. Yes.
Yeah.
The only guy in the Middle East that looked like that. It was great.
Was the son of God.
That's how they knew he was the son of God. That's how they knew.
And according to them, the forces of Babylon have kept vital information out of the Bible in order to keep blacks in a subordinate position.
Oh, yeah, that does happen.
Rastafaris believe the white race as the greatest example of the evils of worldly Babylon throughout history.
Well, broken clock is right twice a day, I guess.
Yeah.
Because, that's kind of true.
It's kind of not debatable.
I'm not saying every evil, but, a lot of them, yeah.
Most of them, yeah.
Most of them, yeah. Good solid chunk of them, yeah. That's us. That sounds like us.
While most Rastafaris don't hate white people just for being white.
They probably pity us, if anything. Jesus.
And there are many white Rastafaris today. They do believe that black people are spiritually superior and that whites have done a great disservice to the world by persecuting the chosen race.
Yeah.
That's certainly understandable considering white people's long history of colonization and slavery.
Why'd you have to go make it political, Paul? Come on.
I know.
Critical race theory bullshit.
You know what, Paul? It sounded like a nice episode until you went there.
Yeah, I wanted to. I thought we were going to talk about smoking weed, smoke the ganja, bump, like that kind of stuff. And then all this fucking, downer, slavery, colonization, brutality, blah, 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 oppression,
For being white, Paul. Is that what it is? Is that what it is, Paul?
I'm just interested in covering things I didn't know anything about.
My favorite.
Racist.
Which one of these guys is your favorite? That's what I want to know.
You know who my favorite is.
Is it the fat one?
Dude, come on.
Yeah, big dumpy in the middle. He's clearly the leader.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely the leader. But I think I like I think I like this guy over here on the side with the. I like his shirt because it has the slave ship and it says "True Holocaust." You know,
was he wearing Lord of the Rings elf bracers? Though?
I'm not sure.
That's a good question. I don't know. His fashion sense is really confusing, but I don't know. I like him. I like his shirt.
Right, because he pretends he's
the other guy's wearing that same shirt
shit.
too. These both dudes are wearing that shirt.
That dude's pretending like he's going along with it, but like I'm reading some shit. Like he's not even there. He's just going along with the program.
Well, if you were walking by these guys, they wouldn't like you, TJ.
I know, right? Definitely not.
Oh no, I've definitely counted some of these guys. Yeah, they don't really like you.
No,
they're not usually very. They're usually not very nice.
They usually yell shit at you and stuff. It's fun though.
They basically try and provoke like confrontation.
Yeah.
Because they're better at yelling and screaming over you than you are over them.
They might fucking be surprised in my case because I can yell really fucking loud, but I don't ever do that. So
yeah,
I'm not, typically if there's like, I'm not gonna, maybe this is a little racist to say or something, but if there's like 20 black dudes screaming in my face, I tend to not be like, oh yeah, well fuck you, like it's just not.
That's part of it.
I don't tend to typically do that,
That is part of it. And then if you start to like bow up at them or get violent or threatening, then it's used as an example of the inherent violence of the white race. So they've definitely got a whole thing going on.
I always encountered them in Bellevue, and I was always baked to hell. So like, I don't think even if they were like, "You're the white devil," I'd be like, "All right, man."
I knew better than to. I didn't even answer them. I remember one time I was walking down the street, and they called me a piglet or some shit.
Yeah, what's up, piglet?
They were like, look at this hairy pink piglet right here walking by, and I was like, I'm not biting. I'm just gonna keep walking. So Rastafaris believe the black race will take its rightful place as the supreme race on the planet after the black diaspora repatriates to Africa. This idea is also shared by the black supremacist group, the Black Hebrew Israelites. Yeah, pictured here. According to Rastafarian beliefs, marijuana is a sacred herb that helped them transcend the corrupting influence of this physical world, TJ.
Damn right.
I agree. Yes.
They use various sections of the Bible to justify their consumption of marijuana, such as Psalm 104:14 and Exodus 10:2. Marijuana is so highly valued by the Rastafaris for its spiritual properties that it's never just called cannabis or pot or weed. Instead, Rastafaris use reverential term for this medicinal herb like holy herb and wisdom weed.
Makes sense.
And wacky tobacco. No.
Yeah, bro.
Many people are attracted to the idea of being Rastafari because it means they have a religious excuse to smoke the ganja.
That is a pretty good selling point.
Yeah, I mean, fucking like it's just as good a selling point as any other religions. Maybe better than most.
Yeah, I would say better than most for sure.
Some of them may be surprised then that smoking ganja is completely optional in the Rastafarian faith.
Wait, what?
Some Rastafari simply choose not to smoke weed at all.
I guess they just reject wisdom.
Yeah, they don't like the wisdom weed.
Like, I'm wise enough. I don't need it. Fuck you. Get it away from me.
You may have noticed that I've been struggling back and forth between using Rastafari and Rastafarian.
Yes.
Rastafari actually don't like being referenced to as Rastafarians at all.
Oh, okay. Shit.
Oops. The reason for this stems from their philosophy that Rastas believe that Ians and isms both represent the corrupt Babylonian system that oppresses people all over the world. They don't like isms.
Shit.
And they don't like they don't like being called Christian or Rastafarian or Haile Selassian or whatever the fuck. They don't believe in that.
Okay. I mean, there's still that, just rejecting. Okay. Hey, hey, rock on.
Considering themselves a religion or an ism of any sort is seen as accepting the system that is anathema to what they believe. This means that some Rastafari will actually be quite unhappy with you if you call them a Rastafarian or say that they practice Rastafarianism. Which I'm glad I know that now, because if I ever go to Jamaica, I would have probably immediately on landing been like, look, a Rastafarian, and got my ass beat.
Yeah.
Of course, this hasn't stopped scholars who still refer to Rastafari as an ism.
It clearly is. I mean, you can fucking be
it is.
against the phrasing however you want, but it is.
It is if you're a white colonizing Babylonian piece of fucking
which
monkey
I of course
shit.
am. So
I mean, yeah, TJ is 100%.
The latter part has also caused annoyance, as some Rastafari don't even like the term religion either and prefer to consider it a movement or a philosophy.
Okay.
Despite the fact that it clearly is a Christianized religion.
I mean, they
and
literally
has
like
religious
cite the
practice.
Bible and stuff, so whatever. It's all good.
And of course, with all the biblical roots of Rastafari, there's bound to be a little bit of sexism woven in there.
Ah, damn.
What's a religious cult without a little bit of fucking discrimination,
Yeah.
Under some traditions, the role of a Rasta woman can be seen to be less significant than that of a man. Rasta men,
obviously, yeah.
I mean, obviously. Rasta men, for example, have the title of kingsman and are responsible for putting food on the table and raising their children under the Rastafari path. Women are given the outlook of living the Rasta lifestyle, but with a few restrictions. For one, a Rasta empress must always be mindful of what she wears. That means tight clothes, revealing outfits, or articles of clothing that show her butt or bust line are strictly not allowed. Consuming food, I know.
Worst religion.
If you consume any food that's made by a menstruating woman, you're unclean, and the food has to be thrown out.
Throw that shit the fuck out of here.
That one I do kind of agree with, because, man, I don't want any of that.
I don't want none of that fucking pussy blood on my fucking meatloaf. Get out of here.
What if it's like a red? Yeah. What if it's a red sauce or something?
Yeah, I might not even be able to tell the difference between that and the ketchup. I might go dip my fucking mozzarella stick in some menstrual blood. Blech. Gross. Fucking disgusting.
I don't know if Rastafarians eat many cheese sticks.
Oh, they do, Scotty. It's their favorite fucking dish.
Abortion is also considered an act of Babylon, and divorce is not considered a part of the Rasta way.
Mm-hmm.
It is possible, though, for a kingsman to have multiple wives.
Mm-hmm.
So,
wait a second.
Usual.
Wait a second. Sounding good to me now. Wait, I got multiple wives.
Wait a goddamn minute.
But your wife can't wear nothing hot, though.
She can do it at home, though, right?
I mean, no.
No? Man, fuck this religion. Bullshit.
I mean, she can get naked and get into bed, I guess. And
worst non-ism ever, motherfucker.
I'm gonna freaking say that I interpret that differently, dude. My version of being a Rasta, that's allowed.
Yeah, I'm taking this fucking religion back. I'm gonna fuck, just like they're like the true Hebrews or whatever. I've decided I come from the tribe of the true Rastafari, man.
The true
Rastafari, and we're white.
True.
Surprise, motherfucker. We're white.
Damn.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you the real truth. Next episode, I'm going to fucking lay it on you. I'm going to lay on you the real fucking Rastafari religion and fucking talk about how this fucking bullshit subverted it and how it's really about white people. Thank you very much.
Wow, TJ.
Yeah.
TJ.
So that's what I've got about Rastafari tonight. If you liked this, let me know. I might be able to find another angle to cover them from, or throw them in the mix with some other type of episodes down the line. But thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.
Deep fat fried. Deep fat fried. Deep fat fried. Deep fat fried.